Hello. Welcome to Easy English Interviews, the podcast for English language learning. My name is Chris Kent. I'm an associate professor of English as a second language in Japan. And in this podcast, I interview interesting people in easy English so English students can practice their listening comprehension skills. Please enjoy listening to the interviews, and if you would like to check your comprehension, please check the questions in the podcast episode notes, or go to kjkentmsed.substack.com and click on the post for this episode. There you can subscribe to my Substack and receive email notifications whenever a new interview is released. インタビューをお楽しみください。理解度を確認したい場合は、ポッドキャストノートの質問を見るか、URL kjkentmsed.substack.com にアクセスして、このエピソードをクリックしてください。そこで私の Substack をサブスクライブして、新しいインタビューがリリースされるたびに、電子メール通知を受け取ることができます。Okay, let's start the interview. All right, so today we are going to be speaking with Mike Sensei. He's a fellow Canadian, and thank you for being here, Mike.
Of course, happy to be here.
Okay, so first of all, I guess I'd like you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Canada, from a small town called Vernon, BC. It's quite small. It's about 1/10 the size of Nagano, I think, but it has lots of mountains around and lakes, so it reminds me of Nagano sometimes.
Yeah, Vernon is a place that I spent a lot of time when I was younger. My grandparents lived there.
Oh,
so we would go visit them. Spent a lot of time at Kalamalka Lake.
Oh, that's a beautiful lake. I used to go there a lot when I was in school as well in the summertime.
Yeah, I remember that you could just keep walking out so far. Like it was shallow for such a long distance. You could just keep walking out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and there's a big dock there. You can jump in off the dock. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So I guess my first real interview question then is, why did you choose to come to Japan to teach English? Maybe if you could explain a little bit about how you came to live here.
Sure. I was working in an engineering company, and the company, how should I say, they were running a little low on money, so I had lost my job and was looking for something new to do, and I'd heard that you could teach English in other countries. So my choices were Japan and Korea and China. And when I looked at those ones, I was very interested in Japanese culture and Japanese food and things like that. So I decided to come to Japan to try to teach English.
I see. Okay. And when you were in college, what did you study and why did you choose that?
I studied engineering and drafting, drawing building plans with computers. But I didn't really want to study that. I actually wanted to try many different subjects, but my mother was very worried about my future, so she encouraged me to study engineering.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The school I teach at is an engineering school, and I know that it's a very difficult subject, and must have been, made your mother happy that you were studying engineering.
She was happy, yeah. I liked engineering, but I found I was always working at my computer, and I wanted to be a little more social and talk to people. So I found when I came to Japan and started teaching English, I thought I would only come for a short time, but I really liked teaching much more than I thought I would. So it worked out to be a really good job for me.
Yeah, that's a recurring theme. When I talked to Ian Davidson, he had the same comment that he was going to come for just 1 year. I myself was only going to come for 3. And all 3 of us now have been here for probably over 50 years together.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay, so you talked about your job and that you like it. So could you tell me, the good parts of your job and also then maybe some of the bad parts of your job and why?
Sure. So I teach in junior high schools and elementary schools, and there's lots of good parts, I think. I get to work with lots of different children and have fun trying to help them learn to speak English. So I enjoy that. I also can be creative, which means I can use lots of different teaching materials and make different things, which is fun for me, like drawing pictures and stuff. As far as bad things, I don't really have that many. Sometimes I feel disappointed that I can't work with the students more. Most of my lessons, I'll teach the students maybe once or twice a month, sometimes more, but never more than 4 times a month. So I'd like to have more time to help my students improve their English.
I see. Okay. When you were younger, I know that you said that you studied engineering, but when you were maybe a younger boy, what did you want to be and why?
I wanted to be an ice hockey player because I grew up watching ice hockey on TV and I really liked it.
The great Canadian dream.
Yes, I think a lot of Canadian boys and girls have the same dream, but I wasn't good enough to become a professional player. So,
Okay. So now focusing a bit more on Japan, what places have you visited in Japan, and what is your favorite place in Japan if you have one?
I've visited a lot of places. I don't travel as much now, but when I first came, I traveled a lot. I've been to Hiroshima and Kyoto and Nara and Osaka. I've been north a little bit through Niigata and, of course, to Tokyo, and Okinawa as well. But I think my favorite place is very close to here. I really like Togashi, actually.
Oh yeah, Togashi is very nice.
Yeah, I like the mountains and the nature. Like I like to go hiking in Togashi. I used to teach in Togashi Junior High School, so I would go in the morning. I would go early and go hiking before work, and I love skiing there too. Togashi is great. Yeah,
I've gone there with relatives who visited. I've taken them there, and they're always really impressed by that area of Japan.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Now I'd like to focus a bit more on the culture. What things do you like about Japan, and in particular Japanese culture?
Japanese culture. I really like Japanese sports, I suppose, like sumo is very interesting for me. I like Japanese history, especially visiting like castles and temples and shrines. I like Japanese food. When I first came to Japan, I didn't know much about Japanese food. I only really knew about sushi. So when I came and I experienced all these other kinds of food, I was really surprised and really fell in love with Japanese food. And I also like the language too. I like Japanese.
Yeah, that's important. I think living in a country where every day you can learn something new is very important.
For sure.
Okay. And how about hobbies? What is your hobby now and why?
My hobby would be, I have a few. Studying Japanese is a hobby. That one is why, I guess, just because I like to communicate with people, and not everyone can speak English. I also like sports, so I play ice hockey, and I also coach my daughter's team. And I like skiing and hiking, swimming. I don't know, lots of different hobbies, I guess.
Yeah, it seems most of the people I know here in Nagano tend to enjoy being outdoors a lot. Maybe that's why they're here.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why I want to stay in Nagano. It's beautiful outdoors here.
You mentioned that you're a coach of your daughter's team. So you have family here in Japan?
Yes, yeah. I'm married, and we have 2 daughters. One is 8 and one is 5. and they both started playing ice hockey. The Nagano team, it's called Pausero. They started playing this year, so I was an assistant coach with the team this year.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. What is your plan for the future, if you have one?
That's a difficult question. I've never been very good at making big plans for the future, but I had a dream of opening my own English school. It's something I've thought about, but I really enjoy working in junior high school and elementary school. So I think for the future our dreams are a little smaller. Maybe we'd like to buy a house somewhere in Nagano. And maybe down the road I'd like to, after I retire from teaching, I'd like to become a rice farmer, because I like farming. I help my family, my wife's family, with their rice farm every year.
That's very interesting, because I've never heard, a friend of mine from overseas, I mean, not Japanese, say that they wanted to be a rice farmer in the future. But, having heard it from you and now thinking about it, that sounds like a lot of fun and very, something that is down to earth and relaxing in a good way to end your time, after you've retired.
Yeah. I've learned a lot about it from my wife's father and my wife's mother, and it's hard work for sure. But I like working outside, and it's nice being able to make your own food as well.
True, yeah, to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Okay, my last question that I like to ask all my guests is if you could give any advice to students who are studying English or people listening to this podcast, what would it be?
There's a lot of advice you could give, but I think that trying to enjoy English. Obviously, if you are having English lessons, I hope that you enjoy the lessons, but outside of your lesson as well, like listening to English music or watching English TV programs or sports, or finding other things that you're interested in and then trying to learn English through that, I think can really make your experience more rewarding or more fulfilling, or definitely will help you improve your English if you're interested in enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think that being motivated is very important. And if you are doing something that's fun, that tends to be one of the highest motivators. And if you can learn something while you're playing a game, or learn something while you're studying something that you like, it'll keep you motivated and help you to become a better speaker.
Yeah. Enjoyment can definitely help you improve your motivation, and helps you all around, I think.
Okay, well, that's all for my questions, and I'd like to thank you again for coming. I know you don't live that far away, but you still had to come here today, so thank you very much.
Oh, it's okay. It was a beautiful day for a bike ride, so I'm happy to come.
It sure was. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Mike Sensei. And I would like to say thank you very much for listening. Also, I hope that you will try the comprehension questions when you have free time, so you can check your listening ability in English. And please, if you would like to be notified by email whenever a new podcast is up, please become a subscriber at kjkentmsed.substack.com. That's kjkentmsed.substack.com. If you become a paid subscriber there, you can read transcripts of the interviews and check your comprehension answers. All right, thank you again, and see you next time when we will speak with another interesting person. Bye-bye from Easy English Interviews.